Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today we'll be discussing a rather unknown but entirely notorious criminal within the wizarding world of Harry Potter, known only as the Ginger Witch. While not much is known about the heritage and early life of this mysterious enchantress, we do have a few facts about her origins and where it is she came from. But before we dive too far into what we know about the Ginger Witch and who exactly she is, let's first review how it is that we know what we do, shall we? As it turns out, the Ginger Witch is not actually a character that you would have read about in the original Harry Potter novels. So if you're a purist who has only read the books and never seen the movies, you're probably even more confused than the average Potterhead. Honestly, I can just see you scratching your head and muttering, "Who in Merlin's beard is the Ginger Witch?" Well, have no fear. For this character was not actually created by Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling at all. Rather, the Ginger Witch is the creation of MinaLima, a design studio comprised of Miraphora Mina and Eduardo Lima, who worked on the Harry Potter films from the third movie installment of the series, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and beyond. Since that film, in which the duo first introduced the Ginger Witch through a fateful page of the Daily Prophet, the design studio continued to sneak this character into various headlines that went on to grace the pages of several Wizarding World publications throughout the franchise, from Harry Potter to even the Fantastic Beasts films. And while there were headlines that MinaLima needed to design because they were required to for the plot of the film, evidently the remaining newspaper and magazine content was up to the studio's primary creators, Mina and Lima. In fact, the Ginger Witch is not the only character or fictional narrative that they placed in these magical publications over the years. Throughout the films, MinaLima incorporated articles on topics such as having more witches in the workplace and highlights from various Quidditch matches. And while the design studio originally thought they were just having a little fun, they soon realized just how invested the fans of Harry Potter and the wider Wizarding world were in every detail about the franchise, no matter how small. In fact, in 2016, Miraphora Mina shared with Business Insider, "We now know that things do get seen. In the past, we didn't realize how much these would be scrutinized by fans." And so, as the franchise grew, the storied criminal past of the Ginger Witch continued to evolve. From the 1920s in the Fantastic Beasts films to the 1990s of the Harry Potter saga, here's everything we know about this mysterious Wizarding World outlaw. It's believed that the Ginger Witch was born in the United States of America, likely somewhere near Manhattan in the state of New York, and presumably in the latter half of the 1800s. These assumptions of her approximate origins are entirely predicated on the fact that her first recorded appearance was in a 1926 issue of the American wizarding publication, The New York Ghost. The headline of the article read, "Bronx Ginger Witch Prosecuted for Wig Theft." So clearly she was, at least at that time, a witch hailing from the New York City borough of the Bronx. Of course, she could have been any age when this article was written. After all, one does not need to be particularly old to snatch a wig. However, as her criminal exploits continued into the late 1900s, it seems more likely that she was a younger witch who was just getting started in her career of criminal offenses and delinquency. This seems especially true since that same year, in November, the Ginger Witch made headlines again, but this time for being under investigation for a crime unknown. The story was published alongside an article reporting on a four-headed bird being involved in a burglary in Diagon Alley, and read, "Exclusive, Mysterious Ginger Witch under investigation." From there, it would appear that she then travelled across the Atlantic Ocean and relocated to Europe, as she was spotted less than a year later, in 1927, in the city of Lyon, France. Her appearance here in Lyon was reported by the French wizarding publication Le Cri de la Gargouille, or The Cry of the Gargoyle in English, in which she was referred to as La Sorcière Russe. Whether or not she broke any laws while she was in France remains a mystery. However, just months after Le Cri de la Gargouille reported her appearance in Lyon, Spellbound magazine claimed to have discovered her true identity. It's rather unclear if this was indeed true, as there's no record of the Ginger Witch's real name in any of the publications that came after this article was released by Spellbound. After the sightings and reports of her in France during the late 1920s, it's unknown what the Ginger Witch got up to, for it was almost half a century before she returned to Wizarding World headlines, at least that we know of. As it were, more than 65 years after the article about her in Le Cri de la Gargouille, the Ginger Witch was making headlines once again. but this time in an issue of the Daily Prophet, indicating that at some point after 1927, she made her way from France to the United Kingdom. If she travelled elsewhere in between is anyone's guess, but evidently by the early 1990s, she was in Britain. We know this because the Daily Prophet reported that at some point in 1993, the Ginger Witch had been involved in a plot of one kind or another that resulted in a recall of Bertie Bott's Every Flavour Bean. For this particular crime, she was imprisoned and kept isolated, although it's unclear if she was sent to Azkaban for this indiscretion or if she was imprisoned somewhere else to serve her time. After finishing her sentence for the Bertie Bott's Every Flavour Bean incident, the Ginger Witch didn't waste much time in landing herself in trouble yet again, this time at a Muggle football match. The article titled "Hooligan Ginger Witch Arrested in Muggle Football Match" was reported in a 1994 issue of the Daily Prophet, which cited both her hooliganism and subsequent arrest. That said, the article apparently made no mention of whether or not she was imprisoned for her shenanigans. It doesn't seem all too likely that she was sent to prison for this, though, because not too long after this offence, the Ginger Witch made headlines in the Daily Prophet once more. This time, it was due to her involvement in an incident regarding 2 flying pigs and their interference with Muggle air traffic. The article implicated her in the crime and referred to her as the Crazy Ginger Witch. Then, in 1995, the Daily Prophet published a front-page article with the headline, "Ginger Witch Survives Henna Explosion." As you might have guessed, the story explains that the witch was involved in an explosion of henna and lived through the ordeal. This article about the Ginger Witch also accompanied a front-page feature story about Professor Albus Dumbledore and a vanity article about Cornelius Fudge, who was the Minister for Magic at the time. By this time, she was clearly as famous as the likes of these magical public figures. And yet, by 1996, it would seem that the Ginger Witch had forsaken Britain in favour of South America, with an article in the Wizarding World's alternative voice, The Quibbler, reporting that she was arrested in Caxambu, Brazil. The magazine shared that her arrest had something to do with a fake henna scandal, which led to her imprisonment, this time definitely in Azkaban. And while we can't be certain, it seemed likely that the fake henna she was caught with had something to do with the explosion she survived the year before. The final bit of information we have about the storied criminal career of the Ginger Witch was an article that revealed that she was released from Azkaban, succinctly titled "Ginger Witch Released from Azkaban." Where her law-breaking antics took her from there is, at this time, unknown. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. What did you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams, and to forget to live.